Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. I'm here today to do a flip through. I have two big fun new journal bundles that are going in my shop today, and they're big journals and there's a lot to see, and it's too much to do any other way but this. So we're going to start with this one and go through it and talk about everything that's in it, and then I'll do the other one in the same video, just because, as you guys know, YouTube is not my very favorite thing to do. So this is the first bundle, and I'm going to set these things to the side. We can start with the journal. I'm just going to check and make sure that I have the journal in frame. Yep. And I want to say that this journal is a guest design team project for Krislana Crafts. She has her own website, which is www.krislanacrafts.com. And she has a wide selection of gorgeous printables. The one I used is called Dans le Jardin. It's all glowing, gorgeous flowers, as you'll see as we go through the journal. And I found it gave you so much to work with. Every image was so beautiful. And it very, very versatile. There were a lot of pieces that I could cut up and use in a lot of different ways. And we can talk about that as we go through. So this journal is made on handmade cotton rag paper, which I really like this format. I really like to make a journal that can be completely customized to the user's taste. And after a lot of kind of trying some different things, some different formats, this has come to be the one that I've enjoyed the most for that. I really feel like you can take this and make it your own. All of the ephemera inside is removable and rearrangeable. Almost nothing is glued. It's very secure. It's all clipped. It's all stabilized, but it's also very possible for you to remove it. And as you will see, depending on how far you want to take it, you can also remove and rearrange actual pages. So let's get started and we'll keep talking so you're not just sitting here looking at this. The first thing I would do when using this kind of journal is just to untie the ribbon. Untying the ribbon is going to give you the chance to loosen the pages. They'll be easier to turn and you'll be able to sit them flat. So this is the first page. This is one of her digitals, a saying that I like, and this is a beautiful bobby pin. So using the bobby pin, you can take all that apart. I'm going to try not to take too much apart, as it will just take longer. It'll be a longer video. But I'll mention it and you can see. So this is the first page, the back of that bobby pin, and then a tag that has this little rose charm. And this is one of Christina's download pages, and I printed this one on handmade paper. That's why it's got that lovely texture. One of the things that I always like to do now when I start a journal is to do a bunch of hand typing on my vintage typewriter. So I chose a lot of flower quotes and flower poems that I like, and a bunch of handmade and special papers to type sayings and quotes and poetry on, and then I had them all ready to go. So that's that page. And these pages that aren't the cotton rag, which is a really sturdy paper, I wanted to incorporate other papers too, and those papers I did reinforce the holes with hole reinforcers. And that's one of Christina's downloads in there that's printed on watercolor paper. I've been printing a lot on vintage paper and watercolor paper, and handmade papers and vintage papers, because I like the effect so much better. It's so much more elegant. So this in here is just a collage cluster with one of the digitals from the kit on top with a paper clip. There's a lace pocket here and a handmade tag on watercolor paper. And then this little paper clip here on the lace. This is a glassine bag. So if you pull this is a jeweled bobby pin. If you pull that off, the glassine bag has a little scrappy journal in it that I made. So you can write on the pages, attach things to the pages, whatever you'd like. And that's one of Christina's digitals here on the cover with a poem or a quote, and that can go back in the glassine bag. And that's a good place for secret or private journaling or anything like that. And there's plenty of room in the bag too if you have pieces or photos or things of your own that you want to tuck in there. And then there's some embossed music page and one of her beautiful Polaroid digis that I printed on some onion skin paper. And that goes back on, and then of course that bobby pin holds the journal in the glassine bag. Oh, and this came off when I took the bobby pin off, but this is a stenciled piece of vintage book page that just goes underneath that. And there's one of Christina's images that I printed on watercolor paper, and that's how it gets that gorgeous look to it. Vintage book page here. And this is actually, I stapled this into a pocket. So you can tuck things underneath if you want. There's a piece of paper under here, a piece from an old catalog. But if you took that paper clip off, there'd be plenty of room for you to get more things under this little page tuck. And I just like it with that little header from the catalog page kind of sticking up there. And then the paper clip has a bead, but also a little polka dot organza ribbon. And this page is a dictionary of gardening page. And this is one of her lovely digitals that I printed on watercolor paper, kind of like a postcard, and that sticks under there. This page is another garden catalog page, and this is an embossed page that I typed on, and that's one of my favorite quotes from Mary Oliver. It says, "The flowers were dressed in nothing but light," and I love that. And there's all of these little stamps here are from Sampool. It's a wonderful set of French numbers and words that she has that I stamped a bunch before I started doing this. And there's a little vintage velvet millinery flower under that paper clip. And on this side, just a collage stack. This is one of Christina's images, some stamping on handmade paper, and then just this is the back of the envelope that's right here. So that's just over the page, and you could take that off and add things to that envelope if you wanted to. And this page is some really beautiful green, soft, thin paper with a die cut panel here, clipped on. This side is some vintage paper with script, a little piece of a garden catalog printable, and one of her pages. I liked how the printable kind of glowed through that flower. And this is a pocket page. This is one of Christina's images that's printed on watercolor paper. And in here there's a little piece from a Rose catalog, an embossed book page, vintage book page, and a poem from Wendell Berry that I typed on handmade paper. And those all go in just like that. And the next page is a flip page. This is a vintage velvet flower. And underneath we have one of Christina's printables, and there's plenty of room for you to stick anything else under here that you like. This page is a frame page. It's one of her images in a frame from 49 and Market. And that's just clipped to this kind of collage background. And then this is a piece of embossed vintage ledger. And this is a quote that I typed, make sure you can see, on some handmade paper, and another vintage velvet millinery flower. This page is a piece of just plain handmade paper. And then this is a longer poem by Mary Oliver that I typed on a piece of vellum. So it kind of glows through with this little rose trim and this little paper, or safety pin, that's the word I'm looking for. Beaded safety pin here at the bottom. Not sure you can see everything good enough. Let's try to make this a little bit better. I'm so bad at YouTube. There, okay. So anyway, that little rusty safety pin with some beads on it. And this page, this is one of Christina's images again that I printed on some handmade paper. And there's another like a gorgeous kind of embossed plushy piece of paper under that. I'm gonna just take a little drink. And this is actually a handmade envelope that's bound in. This is one of her images that's in a metal frame. You can open the envelope, and then inside the envelope there's this garden catalog page that's printed on onion skin paper, which I love doing that. I can't get enough of that. And I put it, that's right, I forgot, I had it so that this piece kind of went over the envelope like that. I like how that looks. And the next page here is a poem that I printed. This is from A Whimsical Adventure on Etsy. There's plenty of room for you to tuck more things under the paper clip. And then this is actually a handmade envelope that's clipped on here. And there's a French, I don't know if this is a French catalog or what it is, but that's underneath. And then inside the envelope is one of Christina's images, again printed on watercolor paper. And a quote again from A Whimsical Adventure. And I'll put that in the description box below. I tried not to use very much that wasn't from Christina's shop, but there were just a few quotes or vintage garden printables that I added. This is a little tag. It's all held together with this bead and bulb pin. There's some dotted Swiss and one of Christina's images and an embossed piece of paper, all a tag. And this paper clip is holding it all on. So it will come out, just pull it out from under the paper clip, and you could leave it here, put anything under it, or put whatever you want on the page. And the next page is a big pocket. This is one of her images, and it is printed on handmade paper, so it's got a lovely texture, and there's two handmade tags here in the pocket. So the first tag is one of her images on onion skin paper that's attached to watercolor, a tag that I made out of watercolor paper. And it has this paper clip on it with this ribbon tassel on the paper clip. And that's in there so that the ribbons sit on top of the pocket like that. And this is just a little collage tag underneath with some vintage French script piece and a garden catalog piece. The garden catalog piece is folded around the tag, so you could take that catalog piece off if you wanted to use it, because it's just held on with this mini rose trim and this pretty bobby pin. And that just goes in the back, just like that. And this piece is avocado dyed, I think it's vellum, with this some snowball mesh and rose trim, and then one of Sam Poole's dates. And that's all attached here with a paper clip. And this is just a piece of handmade paper with flower petals in it that I just thought looked really perfect against that avocado dyed paper. This is actually a big piece from 49 and Market with a hand-typed piece from Mary Oliver and a paperclip ribbon tassel. And that's in the pocket, so this whole piece will pull out. And that's the back of it, covered with vintage music paper. And this is also a quote from A Whimsical Adventure. This is one of Christina's images, dotted ribbon bow, and a wax seal that I made. This page has an envelope that's over the edge, and then under the envelope on this side, there's one of Christina's images that's printed on watercolor paper, and a Mary Oliver poem that I typed, and that's held with this pretty bobby pin that goes right under that vintage ledger envelope that I made. And so this is the back of that vintage ledger envelope. Underneath there's a rose that I embossed on some ivory handmade paper. There's one of Christina's Polaroids on some watercolor paper with some lace. And we're going to just take that out because inside the envelope of the vintage ledger, there's this poem from E.E. Cummings, hand-typed, that I love, called In Time of Daffodils. But there's plenty of room if you want to put more things under there or you want to change that. And that just sits right under there so that you can read In Time of Daffodils. This page is embossed ledger, and it's a frame embossed on the ledger. And then inside the frame, this is one of Christina's images that's printed on vellum. Turn that page. This is a pocket. And so inside the pocket, there's a tag here that I made with a vintage velvet millinery leaf on watercolor paper and a really gorgeous charm at the top. And plenty of room in the pocket for more things if you like. This page also has vintage velvet millinery flower, a quote typed on handmade paper, embossed vellum, and a die cut piece all underneath. And turn the page. And this is one of Christina's images that I printed on vintage paper, which is how it got kind of that very soft look. And that's under that paper clip with one of her images on watercolor paper. And this piece is a collage that's all tied together. I don't think well, maybe I will untie it because there's something inside. So this is a garden piece. This is one of Christina's printables, and it prints out like that. I love that. And just take the book dart off. And it's clipped to the page, so we'll just move the clip. And then if you open it, there's a poem from Mary Oliver inside that I typed on ivory handmade paper. And then you just put it back together so that the paper clip goes here to hold it on. Christina's Printable. This is just a vintage rusty book dart. It's really easy to take on and off. The vintage velvet millinery flower, and then it's just simple tie. And everything's tied in bows so that you can tie and untie it. One of the tricks to tie a nice bow is to organize your bow before you pull it tight. Except it didn't work for me. Of course, on camera, it's going to give me a hassle. There. So this page I actually stapled into a pocket. So inside the pocket, there's plenty of room, but there's also some vintage pieces here for you, printouts of garden catalogs, gardening dictionaries, things like that are all inside the pocket with plenty of room, of course, for things to be added. So we're almost to the end of this journal. This is a piece of vellum with one of Christina's images on it, and a vintage millinery flower. And this is a catalog page that says Language of Flowers that I printed on watercolor paper. And I liked that Language of Flowers kind of sticking up from the pocket. And the last page is a pocket page, and inside the pocket there's an embossed piece with a poem on it from Mary Oliver that I typed. That lives in the little pocket under that paper clip with the beads on it, just like that. And the last page is very simple. There's just a watercolor piece paper clipped on. So I think that the next thing we'll do is look at all the pieces that come with this journal. So we're going to set the journal aside now. And we can start with this little glassine bag that's full of tags. And one thing that I hope you see that you can do is you can add these tags into the journal if you want to. You don't have to, but you can. You can swap them out however you like. This is this is actually a little glassine envelope. And there are tags in here. I'll just show you the tags. The tags are on watercolor paper. So that's the first one, and this is one of Christina's images printed on watercolor paper. And this is one of her images inside a frame on watercolor paper. This one has some vintage rose trim, sari silk, and of course it's on watercolor paper. I just love that texture. I love when you print on it how absolutely elegant it makes everything look. And these go back in the bag. And you can add to the bag. The bag is pretty roomy, so you can add things in if you'd like to. This is one of Christina's images on vellum, on handmade paper, and it's got a velvet millinery rose on the top of the tag. We'll stick that in. I liked the way that these all looked together. I was happy with that. And this tag is just some garden catalog in the background, and then velvet millinery flower tucked in. And the last one is just a little fabric swatch on watercolor paper. some lace, and then a couple of embroidered pieces. Tiny paper clip with a rose charm. And that goes in your bag. So that comes with it. And the last thing that comes with it, I first have to say thank you to Heather at Ruby and Pearl, because these ephemera folios were something that I learned to make from her, and I just loved the idea. This one is constructed on some really heavy-duty handmade paper. So it's got some texture, but it's also really, really sturdy. So let's start looking at this one. This one is held together with one of my favorite fancy bobby pins. So we'll take that off. This piece is a flower poem, and then one of Christina's images on some onion skin paper, and then a paper clip with a bead charm on it. We'll set that to the side. So the folio opens like this, and I've embellished the sides for you. Opens like this and opens like this. And it holds a bunch of ephemera that you can use in your journal. This is the back page of the folio. And then inside the folio, there's one of Christina's pieces that I turned into an envelope. And inside the envelope, there's one of the rusty book darts with some catalog order pages, seed catalog order pages inside the envelope. And of course, you could also use the envelope. You can change how you're using the envelope to add it to the journal the way it is, or with other things in it, however you'd like. And there's a tag on handmade paper with the E.E. Cummings poem on it again. And there's a tag here that has this die cut of a garden gate on it. I just loved that. And these little labels are all from Chapter 1 papers. And then there's a beautiful bobby pin on this one, like that. This is one of Christina's images that I loved, with the snowball mesh over it. So that goes in. And then the last tag in here is this image on this little very heavy duty handmade paper tag. And that lives there. So then to shut it, you just bring the flaps down, this flap over, and this flap over. Put your bobby pin back on to hold it shut, like so. And then the flower poem and the image go back on the side here with the paper clip and the charm. And then that's the ephemera folio. So this is the first journal bundle that I have today, and I would like to thank Christina at chrislanacrafts.com for the images and for inviting me to be on her design team. But I have one more big journal bundle to go through, so I think we'll take a look at that one and wrap this up, okay? So I'm going to set all of this aside, and then we will look at the other bundle that I have to show you today. The other bundle, not much surprise, huh, is a bird journal with accompanying pieces of ephemera and then an accompanying set of bird charms that I made. So you get the whole set of bird charms. And we can go ahead again and just start with the journal. It's the same idea. It's on the handmade cotton rag, and you can take everything apart to your wishes, however you would like. So again, the best way to do it is to just untie the ribbon. because then the journal will sit flat and won't give you any trouble. The first page is just a collage stack with the image on top and the quote, both from thegraphicsfairy.com. Open it up and there's a collage stack inside with a bird stamped on some coffee dyed muslin. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of the images in this one are courtesy of Wendy at the Hopeful Bird. She makes absolutely gorgeous ephemera, so please be sure to go and visit Wendy at the Hopeful Bird, and I'll be putting all the descriptions down below. So this page is a corner tuck, and that's got some lace sewed to it, and then this is like a little layered tag with a safety pin and some coffee dyed vellum. And the next page, oops, I missed one. This is a vintage book page about birds that is a tag. And inside there are two tags that I made. This one right here that says the light of the world. And this, of course, these are all on watercolor paper. It's pretty much the only thing that I print on these days. It just doesn't look the same to me anymore on other paper. So that goes in there. This tag is some tissue printed with birds, and it wraps around to the back, and then just a scrap of embossed paper with offertory on it. And that goes back in like that, and then one more tag on watercolor paper. And this page is printed on some heavy-duty vellum. And there's just a ruffle I made here with a little bird silhouette. Turn the page. And this is a piece from a vintage bird book with a quote on it about birds. This is a belly band page. This egg image that I love, and then these two tags in here that have text from a book about birds on them, and these are on some handmade paper, some kind of a mossy green handmade paper, and a little rusty clip with a charm. And this page is, this is just some twine, but I'm gonna untie it because inside here, this is an envelope that I made that I folded. And inside the envelope, there's this diagram of a bird's wing. Whoops, wrong way. So that diagram is inside the envelope. I won't make you sit there while I tie it, but I'm gonna put the paper clip back on so it all stays together. Well, maybe we'll tie it quick too. So this is just some very natural looking twine that I like. If you are interested and you like the look of this twine, I got this twine from a shop on Etsy called the Paper Sandbox. And they have a wonderful selection of twine in all kinds of colors, as well as many, many other ribbons and twines. It's a great shop. So this is a page made out of vintage ledger. And this is just a collage stack on here, a vintage book page, this nest printable, and then a quote. And the other side is a little fabric swatch. This is a vintage book page that says the first appearance of the sprite. I love that. And this is just a piece of vintage French book page. And this is actually a flip up page, and underneath there is an embossed piece, and this piece from a vintage book about birds. That's all right under there. And this is just a little tag that's all together under that paper clip. This is just a piece of handmade paper, and I stamped Songbird on it. This is a flip out page too, so there's plenty of room under there if you want to add things. And an Edith Holden page with some tea-dyed doily. This is a small pocket page, and this page is made out of some really gorgeous textured handmade paper. This is a wooden piece of birds on a wire. And this is some more vintage doily, and on vintage book page, there's a poem about birds by Rainer Maria Rilke. This is a Polaroid printable from Amity Bloom and some little wooden birds that I added to it. This is a very heavier piece of coffee dyed, like a heavier wax paper. And I like how you can see that nest image from it. The nest image here is from the Graphics Fairy. This is a piece from, of course, Edith Holden with a quote. This little bird image here is from Raindrop Lila, and it's inside this frame, and this wooden piece that says winged. This piece that it's on is some more of that mossy green handmade paper. And this is just a collage stack piece here. Some coffee dyed paper, this image from Raindrop Lila, and this beautiful organza sewn on. This is a pocket page, and inside the pocket there's two little snippet tags on watercolor paper. Oh, and these images are from Bohemian Crafting. And this is a little envelope, and the paper clip here has, I gotta see if you can see it, this little tiny little bird charm. Have you ever seen anything so cute as that? And beautiful doily envelope, and then inside there's this piece about bird's nests, and it's a folded piece, so you can add things in with it, inside it, however you like. Just be careful putting it back in the doily envelope because things tend to catch. So we'll put that little adorable little bird charm on there. And this piece is all so that these eggs can kind of glow through this coffee dyed vellum. If you take it, I could pull this all apart, but underneath here there's that egg piece, and that's all just clipped on. And this is a little swatch piece. My soul is in the sky on that watercolor paper and some fabric, and that's all sewn together. This page is another vintage ledger page, and this is a coffee dyed library pocket, and inside the library pocket there's a little tag, coffee dyed library card, and this piece of a little bird page stapled on that goes in the pocket. And of course you can change out whatever's in the pocket. This is actually an envelope. So this is the front of the envelope and a little ruffle. And then if you lift that up, there's, let me see if you can see it. There's a bird page inside, and this beautiful page with all the feathers on it that's inside that half of the envelope. Just like that. And that's paper clipped on. You can add to it or take it off. And this is another pocket page. And inside If you unclip this, there's this page this is a vintage page from a book about birds. This is the actual page that I put inside there. This page is actually made from this gorgeous coffee dyed paper, embossed piece and music piece. And then there's an embossed piece of vellum on this side. Beautiful in this little nest image, and that's sewn together and then paper clipped on. This is a vintage French page that's got these eggs that I printed on it. And this is coffee dyed masking tape. And this is another little fabric swatch stack all sewn together. And this page is coffee dyed vellum, and this little tag with the wooden bird and the lace that's sewn together. And that's clipped on with the little clip, so you can take that off if you want to. This is an envelope that I made. You can take the clip off so we can look at it. And then inside the envelope, there's a little selection of ephemera. This little piece with the little journaling card that says rest. And then there's this piece from a book about birds, and this little bird quote that is paper clipped on. And then this has its own little paper clip, like that. That folds up, that folds down. This is just a quote about birds that I like from Wendy at the Hopeful Bird. And then the little charm on here that says free to fly. And that charm is from Tim Holtz. And I'm, for some reason, struggling with getting it clipped on, and I'm not sure why. Oh, there we go. I got it. And that all goes on the page with the little tiny Tim Holtz clip. And this page is, I think I should move over a little bit. This page is actually a bird file folder, so it's on both sides. And there's vintage music piece under that one, and then a vintage music piece under that one as well. This is printed vellum with, of course, you have to have the quote from Emily Dickinson when it's about birds. And I just put a music page inside this little pocket here. This is just a lace pocket, and inside there's a bird tag. I think it's on some heavy parchment. And then this is a little journaling folder that's in there that you could put some secret journaling inside. This is a black and white bird image that's in this white frame. And then this is one of my favorite quotes that I waited to use that says, "In order to see birds, it is necessary to become a part of the silence." I love that quote. I think it's gorgeous. And this is a journaling tag that's just paper clipped on. This is one more piece from that bird book, and it's a flip up, and underneath there's a page from Bohemian Crafting that's a printout from a bird book. And this is another black and white image that I put on this page with some antiqued masking tape. And this is a little lace pocket piece with part of a vintage flashcard. And I like the quote so that it hangs over the edge of the pocket. And this piece is a fabric swatch that's got a wax seal on it that I made. And a collage stack on this piece, or on this page, sorry. And I think we're almost to the last page. This is a tag that can come out from under that paper clip, just like that. And it's got a quote that's stitched onto it from Mary Oliver. And there's just, this is a flip up page. And there's this page here with this list of land birds that's printed on, I think, onion skin. And the flip up part is decorated with this piece of handmade paper that's got calendula petals in it. This is an image on watercolor paper from Raindrop Lila. And then we're through it. That's the back page. So just like that, and then depending on what you add in or remove, you just tie the ribbon as tight as you want to. So it's almost impossible to overstuff the journal. So we'll take a minute and just look at all the things that come with it, and we'll be done. So the first thing that comes with it is a scrappy journal in a glassine bag. So you can add things to the little journal and stick it into the journal, to the big journal. You can add things in and keep it in the glassine bag and keep it with the journal. You can pretty much do whatever you want. And it's inside this gorgeous tea-dyed glassine bag with the bird wax seal. And you get 2 of those. So this is another little scrappy journal I made. It's got a little tag in there for you. Just like this. And that is also in a glassine bag with a wax seal on it that I made. And the last piece that comes with this whole journal bundle is this Ephemera Folio. Again, this is like a folio that I learned to make from Heather on Ruby and Pearl. So we're going to untie it. And it has one of the charms on it. Because remember, you'll get the whole set of bird charms too. So we'll untie it. And it's going to open up. Again, I decorated the flaps. This is the other part of that vintage flashcard. And it's clipped on so you can take it off. Just like that with that rusty clip. This is going to open. We'll move the ephemera here so that you can see the back page. Just like that. And this is a piece of book page that'll come out if you want to take it out from under the clip. And this is the back. So it's a bird book. And then this is a handmade paper or cotton rag paper tag that's on under the clip on the back. So we'll look at the ephemera here and put it back in. So there's a tag here on watercolor paper that's sewn. So this is sewn on. And there's this tag here that has the wooden bird on it. And this tag is also sewn. And they just lay in there, so it's not hard to put them back in. And this piece, this is a Polaroid from Amity Bloom that's printed on watercolor paper, and it's attached to more of that mossy green handmade paper. This is more of that mossy green handmade paper. And then there's 2 pieces here This is an embossed tag with handmade paper and lace, and then a wooden piece that says fly. And this is a littler handmade paper tag that says nest. And those go right in there. You just fold the flap in. This is very easy to just clip back on. And then these just go back together. This is incredibly heavy, sturdy handmade paper that the folio is made out of. So it's really easy to just tie this back together. You can't really hurt or rip that unless you pull really, really hard. So that's the folio. So thanks for watching all that. I really appreciate it. And I'd like to say thank you and welcome to new subscribers. I really appreciate it that you're here. So both of those are listed in my Etsy at the time of this video. If you have any questions, please just be sure to let me know. Thanks so much and have a good day, everybody.